What is up, YouTube? Back in Madden 23. If you like Madden rebuilds and Madden career simulations, then you came to the right place. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the like button, say something in the comments. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing the Desmond Ridders career simulation. He plays for the Atlanta Falcons, and as you can see, he's a 70 overall with normal dev. Let's dive in to look at what his tags are and stuff. He has a player tag, QB of the future, likely to start above similarly rated players. Team is unlikely to draft a replacement for this player. And he also has future starter. Player will be above similarly rated bridge players on the depth chart, and he has increased bonus XP during weekly training. Ratings wise, he has a 91 throw power, 79 deep accuracy, 79 medium accuracy, 80 short accuracy with 70 awareness, 80 throw on the run. See, what is his speed? He's got 88 speed, so he's freaking fast. I'm going to go ahead and leave him just as a backup for this first season because in real life, Marcus Mariota is the starting quarterback. So we're just going to go year by year and see how he goes, and have everything set on automatic as far as what the team does with free agency, who they re-sign, coaches, all that stuff. Everything's just automatically set, so I don't have any control. Just whatever he does in his career is what's going to happen. End of the first regular season, the Falcons ended up going 8-9, so definitely not off to a good start for the team. We're going to check out the stats and see. Mariota was playing the whole time, but Desmond Ridders threw for 337 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 63% completion with a 112.8 rating. So he didn't really get to play a whole lot. Let's check out his overall. Is a 70. Well, he's actually a 72, so he went up 2, but it says in the top that his morale is down 1 for some reason. So he was a 71 whenever we first started. Now he's up to a 72. And see what the Atlanta Falcons decide to do, if they're gonna move on from Marcus Mariota and start Desmond Ridders. Checking out the lineup for the start of the second season, and Desmond Ridders is now the starting quarterback. He's a 71 overall. Over top of Mariota is a 69. They got James Robinson at running back. Cordell Patterson's down to 82. Looks like they drafted a offensive lineman that's going to be starting. And offensive line, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. This guy right here, Hennessy, is supposed to be starting, but he's injured right now. The weakest spot is obviously this right tackle spot. Defensively, they drafted this defensive end in the first round. He has hidden dev, but the linebackers are not looking so great. So see how this season goes. End of the second season, the Falcons went 7-10 and missed the playoffs, most definitely with that record. We got Desmond Ridders was a starting quarterback for every game. He threw for 4,700 yards, 33 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, 67% completion with a 100.6 rating. That's a pretty good season from him. And then he also ran for 5 touchdowns, 259 yards on 3.6 per carry. James Robinson had a pretty good year, 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Receiving wise, Edwards, Pitts, and Chark all had over 1,000 yards, and Drake London was right there close to 1,000 yards. See, defensively, I'm just going to check out the sacks. Grady Jarrett had 12.5, Carter had 10. So I decided to check out the draft recap, and they drafted this right tackle in the first round. He's a 78 overall, and then they drafted Trey Owens, this running back, in the second round. He's a 79 overall. So it looks like they had a pretty good draft. Right tackle's got hidden dev, and let's see, the running back, he's 79 overall. He has hidden dev too, and he's a elusive back scheme fit. Freaking pretty great draft for them right there. I'm gonna go look at the NFL, see if that was the highest overall player. Yeah, they got the top 2 highest overall players with the first and second round. That's crazy. Started the third season, and Desmond Ridders is still only a 71 overall. Let's check out his tags real quick and see. He still has QB of the future, so that's good. They won't try to replace him. His throw power is up to 90. I don't remember what it was before. I think it was 91, so it actually went down a little bit. But this is the starting lineup for the third season. We got James Robinson's up to 88 at running back. This running back they drafted is going to be the backup. Drake London's wide receiver number 1 now with the 82 overall star dev. The offensive line is actually starting to get pretty good. We still got Kyle Pitts, 95 X Factor. Defensively, there's a bunch of not so great players on here. It doesn't look like there's really any elite players, I guess, besides AJ Terrell. He's a 93 overall. He only has star dev, but he's still only 25 years old. End of the third season, the Falcons finished 14-3. Probably one of the best records in the NFL because we got a bye week. Let's check out the stats, see what's going on over here. 10th ranked offense. Desmond Ridders threw for 4,500 yards, 32 touchdowns, 10 interceptions with a 70% completion percentage. That's freaking great. 107.9 rating. Robinson had 16 rushing touchdowns. The rookie running back had 3 rushing touchdowns with a 3.6 per carry average. Kyle Pitts went off, 118 catches for 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Drake London got 1,000 yards with 10 touchdowns. Defensively, Troy Anderson led the team in tackles. Grady Jarrett got 13.5 sacks. Playing against the Chicago Bears for the divisional round of the playoffs, they went 9-8. I'm just going to go ahead and simulate the game or advance to the next week and see. We ended up winning 24-20, so now we're in the NFC Conference Championship. Upgrade these players real quick. Bunch of nobodies pretty much. Looks like we got an injury out here. Who got injured? Bunch of guys got injured. Outside linebacker, cornerback, defensive end. Owens has been out for a while. Apparently he's on injured reserve, and Rashawn Evans too. Since it's the conference championship, I'm gonna go ahead and super sim the game and see how they do. Playing in Atlanta, jump up to a 3-0 lead. Dang, Rams scored fast. Rams are up 21-3 in the second. Atlanta comes back 21-10, 28-10, losing by a lot. 35-10, get them blown out. Can we have a big comeback in the second half? 35-17 in the third, still losing. Come on, 42-17 in the fourth. Yeah, 42-24, 49-24, lost 49-24. So at least we made it to the playoffs for the first time. Checking out the yearly awards, Dak Prescott won MVP. Desmond Ridders actually came in 10th. And I'm gonna see about Offensive Player of the Year. Nothing on there. Let's go to Best Quarterback. Desmond Ridders came in 5th. So he's starting to get up there. You see he's a 74 overall. Looking at the draft recap, looks like they drafted another offensive lineman in the first round. He's a 75 overall with hidden dev. So they're trying to keep on building up this offensive line. The rest of the players in the draft are probably not gonna make a big difference right now. There's a starting lineup for the beginning of the 4th season, which is going to be Desmond Ridders' 3rd year being a starter. He's still only a 71 overall with normal dev, which doesn't make any sense at all to me. He was literally just number 10 for MVP in the NFL, so he should have went up at least some, you would think. He's going to be on the last year of his contract right here, so if they decide, they can decide if they want to bring him back, let him go, see if he wants to go to another team. The offensive line they drafted is not even going to be starting because the other guys are pretty much better at this point. Defensively, they got Chandler Jones coming in. Into the 4th season, finished 10-7, made it to the playoffs, 2nd in the division. Desmond Ridders led the league in passing. Look, 5,800 yards, 1st in the NFL. We got the number 1 ranked offense in the NFL. Dang, 31st ranked defense, so complete opposite. 5,818 yards passing for Desmond Ridders with 45 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 68% completion with a 110.7 rating. James Robinson, 4.4 yards per carry, 861 yards, 11 touchdowns. Got Leonard Fournette on the team apparently, even though we already drafted a replacement running back. Alright, that makes a lot of sense. Devin Duvernay led the team in catches and yards, 1,678 and 23 touchdowns. Dang, he's hogged all the touchdowns from everybody. Drake London had 1,300 yards with only 5 touchdowns. We got Jonnu Smith at tight end, so I guess Kyle Pitts is gone. But he had 1,000 yards with 5 touchdowns. Defensively, this is one of the worst units in the NFL apparently. Chandler Jones led the team in sacks with 9 and barely got any interceptions. Going to the playoffs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and simulate this game since it's a wild card game. Maybe we'll get lucky and beat Tampa Bay. We lost 35-28. Looking at the yearly awards, apparently leading the league in passing yards doesn't do anything for MVP. He still got 4th, so they had 3 other quarterbacks better than him. Matthew Stafford was even better than him. Alright, that makes a whole lot of sense. Check out Offensive Player of the Year. Duvernay got it with those 23 touchdowns, yeah. He's not even on there for Offensive Player of the Year. Alright. Best Quarterback, did he win that? Came in 2nd to Matt Stafford. Man, we needed to win that so we could boost up his dev trait. So I went ahead and simulated past free agency to see where he was going to sign, and he did re-sign with the Atlanta Falcons. He's up to 78 overall with star dev. Finally starting to get somewhere development-wise. The only thing that sucks is that he's 27 years old, and typically in Madden, once you turn 28, you start regressing, so pretty much maxing out at 78 overall. hopefully he can do something really crazy and win MVP or something. But let's check out the contract he signed. Signed a 3-year deal, and he's averaging basically like 6.5, 7 million per year. So they actually got him on a pretty cheap deal. Let's go look at the tags that he has. He's a bridge quarterback now. If starting the team will look to draft a replacement. Oh man. Well, they just signed him to, I guess it wasn't a huge deal, but we'll take it. Checking out the draft recap, they drafted a wide receiver in the first round. He's a 75 overall with hidden dev. Looks like he might be a beast. And then in the second round, they drafted this cornerback, Quincy Melvin. He's a 74 overall. Also has hidden dev, so the drafting is actually doing pretty good. They didn't draft a quarterback, luckily, well, at least not high. They drafted this dude in the 6th round. He's only 58 overall, so definitely no competition from him. Started the 5th season. This is the starting lineup. Ridders at a 74 overall. I think earlier I said he was a 78, which it was showing that he was, but it was because of morale. So he still has start dev though. So hopefully he can have another crazy season. Offensively, the offensive line is pretty nasty. So got Jonnu Smith at tight end. Receivers are doing pretty good. Got a lot of depth over here. We got Traylon Burks at wide receiver 3, and then the rookie they just drafted is going to be the 4th receiver. Defensively, they didn't really do much at all. Defense was 31st in the NFL, but they decided that they were just going to roll out with basically the same team. So definitely not looking good for them on that. Ended the 5th season with a 9-8 record. Barely made it into playoffs as a wild card team, but would definitely take that. Let's check out the stats here. We got the 6th ranked offense, and defensively 18th. So the defense did actually take a step up. Desmond Ridders threw for 4,900 yards, 42 touchdowns, 15 interceptions with a 65% completion, 106 QB rating. So pretty good season from him. James Robinson had 1 yard shy of 1,000 yards. So we got Trey Owens and Leonard Fournette at running back. So they have a ridiculous running back group. Duvernay led the team in catches and yards, 1,341 yards, 12 touchdowns. Drake London had 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Brevin Jordan had 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. Thought Jonnu Smith was a starting tight end, but either way, still we'll take it. Defensively, let's see what happened with this defense. Grady Jarrett led the team in sacks again, but pretty much no one else had anything. And we had a couple of interceptions, no big deal. Gonna simulate this wild card game and see if we can get the dub. Is it gonna be a win? We won 35-28. Gonna be playing against Tampa Bay in the divisional round. Let's upgrade these players real quick. Just one player, Deion Jones. I'm gonna simulate this week and hopefully we can get the dub. About to get it. Got the win, 28-14, playing in the conference championship game. So I'm gonna upgrade the players real quick. We only got one player. And I'm gonna jump into this game and super sim it. Here we are in the NFC Championship playing against Dallas. We're up 3-0 in the first. We're up 10-0 in the first, or in the second now. We're up 17-0 in the second. I like it. 20-0 in the second. 20-7 in the third quarter. Come on, 20-10. We gotta hold them off. Going into the fourth, we're up 27-10. 27-17. Up by 10. We win the game. Going to the freaking Super Bowl. Yep. Desmond Ridders going to the Super Bowl. Checking out the yearly awards before we get into the Super Bowl. Trying to see. Desmond Ridders got 9th in MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. He came in. He didn't come in at all. Thought that was him, but it was Duvernay. He came in 5th. Best quarterback, maybe? He came in 5th. Alright. He's up to a 77 overall, apparently. I'm going to check out his overall and stuff before we start the Super Bowl. And he jumped up to superstar dev. Definitely like to see that. He is a 77 overall, but with the morale boost, he's playing up to an 80. Let's see what kind of tag he has. Still says bridge quarterback. Ratings wise, still only has 91 throwing power, but his accuracies are up a lot. Gonna be playing against the 15-2 Kansas City Chiefs as the underdog with our 9-8 record, barely making it in as a wild card.
Madden football is the home of the Super Bowl, and this historic matchup is brought to you by EA Sports. It's the Chiefs and the Falcons, and it's all up next.
Super Bowl time. Playing in the Super Bowl, we're off to a 7-0 loss, or down 7-0, I meant to say. We're tied 7-7. We're down 10-7 in the second quarter. We're down 13-7 still in the second. We're down 16-7. We're down 23-7. It's not a good start for us. We finally scored. We're down 31-10 in the fourth quarter. 34-10. It looks like we're going to lose the Super Bowl here. Yep, we lost 34-10. Looking at the player stats for the Super Bowl, Desmond Ridders had the worst game of his career. 27 rating, 48% completion, 0 touchdowns, and threw 4 freaking interceptions. Checking out the draft recap, they drafted a defensive end in the first round. He's a 73 overall with a hidden dev. Decent first round pick. And then the second round, they drafted this defensive tackle. He's a 72 overall with normal dev. Checking out the starting lineup for season 6, Desmond Ridders up to superstar dev with a 77 overall. Let's check out his tags and see he's still, oh, it says he's a franchise quarterback now. He will not be replaced by the team until later in their career, so that's good. Thought they were still gonna have him as a freaking bridge quarterback. His throw power is still just 91, which is still good, but deep accuracy 78, medium accuracy 84, short accuracy 84. Still has 88 speed. As far as the rest of the team goes, the offensive line is looking freaking great besides this spot right here. The left tackle, probably the most important position, so if I were them, I'd probably move one of these guys to left tackle, but they got 3 superstar devs on the offensive line. Brevin Jordan's up to 78 at tight end, and they still got Jonnu Smith. Duvernay's up to a superstar dev, but Drake London still outdoes him on overall with 87. So we got 3 insane running backs. Defensively, bunch of nothing basically. They still haven't done anything to upgrade the linebackers or the safeties. I guess cornerback wise, they brought in Greedy Williams, so that's pretty good. And then they got this defensive tackle Brown, who's 89 overall, superstar. End of the regular season, finished 8-9, did not make the playoffs this time. See how we did statistically, 5th ranked offense, so the offense is still holding up good. Defensively, dropped down a little bit. We were 18th last year and 21st this year. Desmond Ridders passed for 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, 15 interceptions, 65% completion with a 105.8 rating. Pretty good season from him overall right there. Rushing wise, James Robinson had 1,000 yards, 5 per carry with 12 touchdowns. Trey Owens had 5 touchdowns rushing. Duvernay had 1,400 yards and 18 touchdowns, so he's been a beast in this freaking career simulation right here. Drake London at 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Brevin Jordan 870 yards, 5 touchdowns. Traylon Burks getting in on some action with 780 yards, 3 touchdowns. Defensively, Deion Jones led the team in tackles with 120. Sacks wise, man, that's terrible. Sack leader had 4.5 on the team, and 2 interceptions by a few guys, and then 1 by a few other guys. So I guess interceptions is not bad, but the sacks, they definitely need to do something about pass rushing. Checking out the yearly awards, Justin Herbert won MVP with the Bengals apparently, and Joe Burrow was playing for the Lions and he came in 2nd. Trey Lance is on the Saints. Desmond Ridders came in 5th for MVP. Offensive Player of the Year went to Devin Duvernay, wide receiver for him. And let's see, wrong thing. Quarterback, best quarterback, where are we at? Desmond Ridders came in 4th. Checking out the draft recap, they finally decided to do something on defense. They drafted this outside linebacker in the first round. He's a 74 overall. He only has normal dev, but he could potentially end up being a good defensive player for them. In the second round, they drafted this free safety, 75 overall, and he has hidden dev. Pretty good pick by them. And then in the third round, they still got a 73 overall outside linebacker who has no more dev also, but at least they're actually trying to take chances on defense because the defense needs help. Here's what the team is looking like for the start of season 7. Desmond Ridders still a 77 overall with superstar dev. At least he's holding that superstar dev trait. Figure they probably would have tried to rob it from him by now. But offensively, the team looks pretty loaded still. There's a bunch of superstar devs on the offensive line. And then Drake London is still the #1 receiver with 88 overall. He only has star dev though. Duvernay's up to X Factor, but for some reason he's only 85 overall. He's playing up to 85. He's technically at 83. There's a whole bunch of normal dev players in the 70s. There's no superstar players at all. The best player on the team is still Terrell. He's a 95 overall cornerback, so not expecting much from the defense this year. Had a bounce back year. End of the regular season, we went 12-5, won the division. 8th ranked offense, so the offense is still pretty good. It's going down just a little bit. Dang, defense jumped up to 2nd overall. How the heck? All right, well, Desmond Ridders threw for 4,895 yards, 47 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 68% completion with a 113.7 rating. That's definitely MVP contention stats right there. James Robinson's been solid, 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4.3 average. Duvernay had 1,300 yards receiving with 18 touchdowns. He's just been putting up numbers like crazy. Drake London, 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. Brevin Jordan, 909 yards, 8 touchdowns. Defensively, Rashad Fenton led the team in tackles with 91, my bad. Derrick Brown, dang, defensive tackle Derrick Brown had 15.5 sacks. Insane. Interceptions, Fenton had 3. The 9-8 Chicago Bears in the wild card round. I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next week. Hopefully we can win this game here for Desmond Ritter. Lost 29-14. Well, that's the end of the season. Checking out the yearly awards, Josh Allen won MVP again. Desmond Ritter came in 4th, so that sucks. I was hoping that he was going to win it. Offensive Player of the Year, Desmond Ritter came in 8th. Best quarterback, he came in 2nd to freaking Dak Prescott. Desmond Ritter was on the last year of his contract, and that last season after free agency, he did end up re-signing with Atlanta. See his contract right here. He's on a 3-year deal, roughly 10, 11, 12 million per year. So that'll put him through to the age of 33, because he's currently 30 years old. He's at 83 overall. He's playing up to 83 overall with the +4 morale. At this point, he's actually a 79. He dropped down to star dev, so he lost his superstar, but player tag, he has award winner and bridge quarterback. Looking at the draft recap, they did draft a quarterback in the 1st round. They had pick number 24 since they made it to the playoffs. He was a 70 overall, and he has normal dev, so that's definitely good for him that this guy didn't end up being so good. It still says that he's QB of the future and he's a future starter, so hopefully Desmond Ritter can hold him off. They drafted this safety in the 2nd round. He's a 73 overall with hidden dev. Nice pick there. And then they drafted another running back in the 3rd round, 72 overall. No, he's a 73 overall, but he has normal dev too. So, start of season number 8, Desmond Ritter is a 79 overall with star dev. Offensive line is still looking freaking ridiculous with 3 superstar devs. Left tackle spot still looks shaky. Duvernay's down to star dev. He was an X factor last year. Drake London's 88 overall with star dev. Defensively, I mean, to me, the defense doesn't look good at all overall wise. They have a bunch of guys in the 70s with normal dev, but apparently that didn't matter because last year they finished with number 2 ranked defense. So this guy Brown went off and had like 15.5 sacks from the defensive tackle spot. It was insane. End of the regular season, finished 11-6 and won the division yet again. Stats wise, let's check this stuff out. 4th ranked offense, so the offense has been freaking great this whole time basically. Defense fell off down to 26, so last year was just an anomaly. Desmond Ritter threw for 5,097 yards, 40 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 68% completion with a 111.3 rating. James Robinson had an insane year, 1,400 yards, 5.3 per carry with 23 rushing touchdowns. Drake London led the team in receiving yards, 1,314, 9 touchdowns. Duvernay had 1,170 with 12 touchdowns. Tight end Brevin Jordan had 1,000 yards with 8 touchdowns. Defensively, Miles Jack led the team in tackles with 103 sacks. Derrick Brown, defensive tackle, had the most with 8, and then everyone else basically did nothing, so didn't get no sack production. Eddie Carter led the team in interceptions with 3, whoever that guy is. Playing against the 10-7 Arizona Cardinals in the first wild card week game. I'm going to simulate to the next week and see if they can get the win or not. Lost the game 31-28. The yearly awards, Trevor Lawrence won MVP with the Jaguars. Desmond Ritter came in 6th. Offensive Player of the Year, James Robinson, the running back, won that for the Falcons. Desmond Ritter came in 8th. Best quarterback, freaking Dak Prescott won it again. Desmond Ritter came in 3rd. Well, it's looking like the end is near for Desmond Ritter in Atlanta. They had the 21st pick in the 1st round, and they drafted a quarterback. 75 overall. He has hidden dev, so that's definitely not good for Desmond Ritter. Says that he's a franchise quarterback. He's going to be a day one starter, but we'll see how that actually goes. Second round, they drafted this wide receiver, 74 overall with hidden dev. Good pick there. Third round, they drafted a bad defensive tackle, but in the fourth round, they got a 72 overall middle linebacker with hidden dev. Nice pick there. And then even in the fifth round, they got a 75 overall tight end that has hidden dev. Dang, they're just going freaking crazy in the draft on here. Starter of season number 9, Desmond Ridders, a 79 overall with star dev. Says that he's still an award winner with the bridge quarterback. That quarterback that they drafted in the first round, he actually has superstar dev. I guess that they used the coaching ability to reveal his dev trait, because this guy, you can't even see what his is. Looks like the end is getting close to being over. They finally got a good left tackle on the team, but then they lost their right guard. James Robinson's up to superstar dev. Drake London's at 89 overall. Brevin Jordan's up to superstar dev at tight end. Defensively, they're finally starting to bring in some good players with decent development traits, at least in the linebacker and safety positions. Meanwhile, the cornerbacks are freaking terrible. Smart is the best cornerback on the team with a 73 overall. Burner is a 69 overall. McIntyre is a 73 overall. So, yeah, my bad. They definitely got worse on the defense. End of the regular season, we won the division again with a 10-7 record. The rest of the division just looked straight up terrible altogether. We got the third ranked offense. Defensively, it's probably gonna be, they got 5th. How the heck did they get the number 5 defense, man? Whatever. Desmond Ridders threw for 5,105 yards, 41 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 68% completion with a 105.9 rating. The rookie quarterback they drafted in the first round completed 2 passes out of 3 attempts for 21 yards. Rushing wise, James Robinson had another good year, 1,200 yards, 4.7 per carry with 11 touchdowns. Duvernay had 100 catches for 1,296 yards, 14 touchdowns. Brevin Jordan had 1,109 yards, 6 touchdowns. This wide receiver Chapman, don't know who he is, had 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. And Drake London had 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. 4 receivers over 1,000 yards, a lot of production there. Defensively, still barely getting any sacks at all, but Derek Brown has led the team with 8 from the defensive tackle position, still barely getting interceptions. Playing against the 12-5 Lions in the wild card round, I'm going to simulate to the next week, and hopefully we can get this win. We did beat them 35-32. It was a very close game, super close. Gonna upgrade the players real quick. Playing against the 12-5 49ers in the divisional round, I'm going to advance to the next week and see if we can get a win here. We won 42-35, making it to the NFC Championship game for the 3rd time in this career simulation. Upgrading Derek Brown real quick. Got an injury. Let's see who got hurt. Hopefully it wasn't Desmond Ridders. Whatever, I guess it was maybe this guy. I don't know. They're all on injured reserve, so. Playing against the 13-4 Vikings in the NFC Championship game in Minnesota, we jump up to a 7-0. We tied 7-7 in the second. Minnesota jumps up to a 14-7 lead. We tied at 14-14. Minnesota's up 21-17. We're up 24-21 in the third. 31-21, winning by 10 in the fourth quarter. We're up 38-21. We're up 38-28. Come on, hold them off. 41-28, 41-35. We won the game. I got a little bit tongue twisted there. We had the yearly awards here before we go into the Super Bowl. Desmond Ridders came in 6th for MVP. Offensive Player of the Year. Nothing there. Well, not Desmond Ridders anyways. Best quarterback. Desmond Ridders came in 6th. Regular season MVP Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. They went 10-7 just like us. Here we are in the Super Bowl. Buffalo jumps up to a 3-0 lead in the first. Still 3-0. Oh, we're up 7. Oh, we're losing 10-7 in the second. We're up 14-10 in the second. In the third quarter, we're up 14-13. Come on, 21-14 in the third. They must have went for 2. We're tied 21-21 in the fourth. Buffalo's up 28-21. It's tied 28-28. Going to overtime, 28-28. What happened? We won it. Atlanta got the dub. Desmond Ridders won his first Super Bowl.
And to the Super Bowl champions, they etch their name forever in NFL immortality.
That's pretty phenomenal right there. It actually gave me chills just to hear you say that, because immortality forever and ever. When you look in the record books, you'll see
Looking at the player stats for the Super Bowl, Desmond Ritter threw for 461 yards, 3 touchdowns. He did throw 2 interceptions, but he outdueled the regular season MVP Josh Allen, who threw for 366 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. Checking out the season recap because Desmond Ritter won Super Bowl MVP, so maybe that'll help him in a dev trait or at least boost up his rating a little bit. Checking out the draft recap, they drafted this 74 overall left tackle in the first round. He only has normal dev though. Here we are in season 10 of his career simulation. He's a 79 overall star dev. They still got this quarterback right behind him with the 77 overall superstar. I guess they're gonna give him another year since he just won a Super Bowl for them. Duvernay's down to normal dev with 83 overall. Drake London's at a 90 with star dev. The offensive line is still pretty decent. Brevin Jordan still got superstar dev. Defensively, I'm not even gonna say anything because every time I say, well, I guess I should say like this defense is bad, because every time I do, they end up getting like number 2 ranked defense. So cornerbacks are still terrible. Into the regular season, one of the worst seasons yet in the career simulation. Finished the season 6-11. Not good at all. Number 11th ranked offense. So we fell out of the top 10. We've been in the top 10 pretty much every time. Defense finished 17th. Desmond Ritter threw for 4,800 yards, 39 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 68% completion with the 107.4 rating. The backup had 2 completions on 3 attempts for 8 yards and 1 touchdown. Rushing wise, James Robinson had one of his worst seasons, 875 yards, 4 per carry with 5 touchdowns. Receiving, Duvernay still putting up big numbers, 1,249 yards, 14 touchdowns. Chapman had 1,000 yards, Brevin Jordan had 1,000 yards, Drake London had 900 yards with 11 touchdowns. Defensively, Darrell Campbell led the team with 132 tackles. Sacks-wise, defensive end, Kalen Ellis, who was a first-round pick, like I think in the first or second year, led the team with 8 sacks. Interceptions, Campbell had 3, Werner had 3. Josh Allen won MVP yet again. We didn't have anybody up there, definitely not Desmond Ritter. Offensive Player of the Year, Duvernay came in 9th. What about best quarterback? Nothing at all, really. He finally got overtaken by that other quarterback. He's a 76 overall, normal dev, starting to regress pretty heavily. 33 years old at this point. His tags still says he's a bridge quarterback and a mentor. Ratings wise, still has a 91 throw power. His accuracy has been staying pretty much the same throughout most of this career simulation. Into the regular season, the Falcons went 10-7 and made it in the wild card spot. Let's see what happened with the stats. Then he only threw for 3,700 yards, 14th ranked offense, 20th ranked defense. So look, Desmond Ritter got to throw for 920 yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. So guess this guy got hurt. Let's see. Yeah, this guy only played in 15 games. So Desmond Ritter got to play in a few games. That's pretty good, I guess. Starting quarterback McLeod has a broken thumb and he's out for 1 more week. So it looks like Desmond Ritter gets to start in a playoff game. Might be the last time that Desmond Ritter gets to play in a playoff game, or any game at all for that matter. So I'm going to go ahead and Super 7 this game. Jump up to a 7-0 lead in the first. We're up 14-0 in the first. Nice, 21-0 in the first. He might play so good they have to keep him in that starting quarterback. 28-3 in the second. 28-10 in the third. Still winning 28-13 in the third. Up 31-13 in the fourth. 31-20. 38-20 in the fourth quarter. Winning 38-27. We win the game, going to the next round. Looking at the player stats for that playoff game, apparently Kyler Murray was the quarterback for the Rams over there, but look at Desmond Ritter, 137.4 QB rating with 500 yards passing, 71% completion with 4 touchdowns and 1 interception. Dude had the game of his life and possibly the last game of his career. Right before the next playoff game starts, they did end up putting McLeod as a starter over Ritter, which obviously that's what they should do because he's better and younger, so at least Ritter got a little bit of playing time. Game against the Washington Commanders. Let's see how this goes. Maybe they'll end up going to another Super Bowl. They beat them 28-21. Playing against the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Conference Championship game. Desmond Ritter got an upgrade available here. Improviser. Gonna be up to 79 overall now. I'm gonna simulate this game right here. Well, let's check the lineup first and see if this guy's injured. No, he's still playing. I'm pretty sure it would have told us if there was an injury anyways, but advancing to the next week. Can we make it to the Super Bowl again? We lost 27-24. Well, after the season was over, the Desmond Ridders contract was up. He went into free agency, simulated through all of free agency, and nobody signed him. He's sitting here at a 71 overall, age 34, still with normal div. Still has 88 speed though, even though he's 34 years old, which is freaking crazy. His throwing power is down to 89. He was at 91 for a while, so he's gonna start regressing heavily. He's probably gonna be done. Probably gonna be his last year, retire after this year if I would have to guess. 13th year of his career. He's 35 years old. He's down to 67 overall. Tampa Bay decided to sign him. I don't know why, but I guess it is what it is. He sat in free agency all last year and nobody signed him, so it is still preseason right now. He could get cut, I guess, before the regular season starts. We'll find out. I thought he would definitely retire, but I was wrong. Simulated through the preseason, and he did end up getting cut by the Buccaneers. Now he's sitting here in free agency, and there's a bunch of quarterbacks that are better than him, so highly doubt that he's going to get signed by anyone else. Looking at the legacy leaderboard, I'm guessing that he finally retired because I looked on the roster of the Buccaneers and he's not on there. It's showing that his team right here is the Buccaneers, but he's finishing 9th overall on legacy leaderboard for quarterbacks with the 22,000 score. He had 1 Super Bowl, 2 championships with 6 yearly awards. And right here, he's 36 years old, 65 overall with normal dev. You look at his stats and contracts, it says that he doesn't have a deal with anybody. Let's check out his stats. So he's 36 years old, he finally retired yet. He didn't play for like 2 years. But his last year with Atlanta, you know, he went to that one playoff game, he had a 500-yard game, which was insane. But every year he threw for over 40 touchdowns. Well, most of his, besides the first 2. This year he wasn't starting at all, but he had a pretty decent backup season. And then right here he threw only 39 touchdowns, but he threw for over 5,000 yards a bunch of times. He had a pretty good, fruitful career overall. He got 1 Super Bowl, made it to the Super Bowl twice, made it to 3 NFC Championship games. So that's going to be it for the video. If y'all like these career simulations, this is the first time I ever done one. I'm going to try to do some more and see if I can format them a little bit differently or better. Give me some suggestions on what y'all would like to see as far as these career simulations go. But hopefully, if y'all like the video, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, comment something down below. See y'all in the next one. Appreciate it. Peace.